the opponent. We have the Braum level 1 being so strong, and we have like the early game Camille lockdown, right? As long as the Vi. But we're gonna get straight into our game here as it's our last match of Prime Meta League Day 1. It's Team Nautilus versus Riftwalkers.
Yeah, and right now we see the standard fan out. Looks like we're just going to protect our jungle from getting invaded on both sides. This is something I'm interested in. I know a lot of AoE junglers tend to start chickens, or raptors, or whatever we're calling them.
I call them Wraith because I'm an Unk.
True! I am surprised, or not surprised. I am interested to see what this Olaf's path looks like. Because I think if I'm Riftwalkers and I'm looking at the way my team comp is set up, I want to try and get into this Darius lane as quickly as possible. This Aphelios Soraka lane is probably going to play back, but even if they freeze or even if they get pushed under turret, they're not exactly the best at facilitating ganks until Aphelios gets his CC gun. And even with the CC gun, Rocket just doesn't set up great ganks in general, right?
Yeah, 100%. The Soraka, the only thing you really have to set up the CC is maybe the slow from the Starfall, maybe the silence with the Equinox. It's not a lot to set up the ganks, and Olaf's not really known to be like a very effective ganking jungler. So it'll be, the Olaf trying to get aggressive in different ways that don't just involve straight ganking. It'll be power farming, maybe even invading the Vi, like we said, where you can kind of throw hands, get up in their face, run the fade, as you say, and get up in them to kind of cause some chaos for your team. As we see some early game trading from Magician and Winter, not too much damage traded back, but we're seeing the range advantage from Magician start to chunk out Winter with the auto attacks.
Yeah, for sure. I am interested to see how this pathing goes. Both junglers starting on opposite sides of the map, both pathing towards their quote unquote strongest lanes. It looks like, because Vi does want to try and get down here and get into this Aphelios lane as much as possible. Aphelios just not being able to do anything about her. Magician really exerting a lot of pressure on Winter to facilitate that push. And ultimately, I think what Brad and Davatek really want here is to try and get this wave to bounce, but it's not quite there yet. But they want it to bounce right in time for the Vi to show up.
Right. Yeah.
Looks like we're going to walk
trading.
in.
Yeah. We just see continued trading. Magician's really trying to throw down as much poke as possible before his mana bar is gone. We see that Winter actually did go the Doran's Ring, which is less of a sustain kind of rune sustained item compared to the Doran's Shield. So it's likely that he's going to get poked up and have to TP before Magician. So we'll have to see if, we can see if Frozen Ace manages to get some pressure on this Victor that's pushing up.
Yeah, and I do think that Doran's Ring, and this, speaking of losing to Shopkeeper, I do think Doran's Ring is a little bit ambitious in this matchup. It's possible that he has some justification for it that I don't really know. Maybe he's just that mana hungry, which is a possibility. But I would imagine that this is a Doran Shield matchup. You're getting poked out here if you're playing Gragas.
Yeah, as someone who's played a couple of Gragas games, not a lot, but I used to play him in the jungle a bit. His mana problems are quite rough in the early game, since if you're using that barrel to farm in the early game, you're going to run out of mana. As we see a hook shot from Zacian. Not a lot of trading. We got a nice trade, a nice chunk out, especially since Zacian is running the TP while I'm just going to call him Darius because La Calm Lafit is just too many words. Darius does not have the teleport to return back to lane if he takes a bad trade. As we got the bot lane. We see the heals coming out for Krexin. Krexin doesn't do a lot of damage in the early game, but he's hitting the Calibrum sniper rifles. Winter's back in lane and he's already out of mana and almost half HP. So we're seeing this Victor not even have to expend the TP and chunk out Winter a ton, as Winter's already out of mana again, and he didn't get a great buy. Oh, sorry, he didn't.
Winter hasn't bought at all, so he's actually doing okay. But that short trade is not actually great for the Yunar lane. They really wanted to land that stun on Aphelios because they're just going to heal right up. That being said, it's possible that what they really wanted was to try and bounce the wave and create a situation where they could find a good back timer. They've been having trouble with that throughout the early game. It's one of the reasons why Vi didn't have prio when she went for the crab. But now that this lane is pushing away from them, they're probably going to look for a back timer relatively soon.
Yeah, and LaChacha on the Soraka is keeping his 80 carry safe. Brett and Dave Tack are in a relatively good position, you know, a little bit of farm lead, but not anything super impressive. As we see a TP back to mid lane from Magician as he picks up the Faded Ashes, and a TP back top lane from Zacian, picking up the Sheen and the Dagger. So a good early buy from him as Lacalm Lafitte managed to push out the wave. Not sure if he'll be able to get the crash in. He looks like he's staying as Love Not Thought is going to the top lane and see if he can create some chaos.
Yeah, and looks like Love No Thought is considering like kind of getting aggressive here, but realizing that it's likely Vi has all these camps cleared, so there's no real reason to like try and invade. Um, a really peaceful game so far, honestly. Definitely the least action we've seen out of any game so far, but almost relaxing to see teams like not decide that they need to fight every 2 seconds.
They're putting me out of a job, Kazi. You know, I showed up as the play-by-play, and there's no plays being made.
There's no
So
plays. No, no. It's yeah, putting me on the spot as analysis with like Silver Brain, not a good idea. But like,
that's all good. It's all good. It seems like you're doing a
yeah.
great job with the analysis so far. So we're gonna see, yeah, like you said, some super relaxed early laning, no high aggression plays from either team. I think this, in the end, this benefits Team Nautilus a little bit more since they have the better scaling champions with the Camille and Gragas, you know, kind of getting over that early game hump, especially for the top side. So Victor will continue to scale well, but now that Winter finally has the mana crystal, he'll be able to stay in lane longer. As we see the first dragon, we see the body slam go in. Love Not Thought dealing some damage to the Gragas. Winter doesn't take that much damage as the fruit's picked up. Gravity Field gets dropped. Magician, oh, we see a nice silence coming out, rooting 3. The Cha-Cha's getting some nice poke as the Arcane Storm comes out. Winter's taken really low. There's a fight around the dragon. They're all bunched inside this pit. Frozen Ace misses the Vault Breaker. There's a lot of damage being taken onto the Braum. It's about to be first blood. Love Not Thought. They manage to get the kill. Victor gets the kill. Frozen Ace goes in and dies. Zacian jumps in with the hook shot. He gets the Hextech Ultimatum and Love Not Hot. He's doing so much damage but he can't get it. Love Not Hot finally dies as we see a slaughter in the river. The Rift Walkers just stomped out Team Nautilus in the dragon fight as they were all trapped in the pit and unable to get out as they lose the dragon. They lose 4 members in that fight in just an absolute chaos with everyone flying into their deaths.
Just a master class in positioning and playing off of your teammates. Soraka somehow landing a 3-man snare into an immediate Victor ultimate and laser was just so huge for that team fight. The amount of damage that Victor was able to get out over the full duration, in addition to the Aphelios getting to free hit almost the entire time, even at this early stage where like they don't actually have that much damage, if you let them do whatever they want for 30 seconds, your whole team is gonna melt.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, you can say that again. Like, it was just free hitting from Magician and Krexin on the Aphelios and Victor. These early game champions might not do a lot, but if you give them free time to free fire, they're going to be taking down your team. As, yeah, it's just a pretty big misplay, I think, from Team Nautilus to kind of get stacked up in that pit and not make anything happen. We saw Dave Tack's Braum get taken out really early in the game as he had to throw up the Unbreakable really late in the fight and not block that much damage. And Bread wasn't able to hit. And, yeah, we saw Frozen Ace whiff one of those Vault Breakers in, and then Zacian actually had to come down, use his TP, kind of alleviate this pressure that he was putting on top lane to make that play. As we see, oh my god, a steal with the Undertow. Love Not Thought dodges the body slam. He's CC immune as used the ultimate. Cease and desist on the big.
There's the
backline. Winter's taking so low and he dies. CC immune is still active for Love Not Thought. He gets the Undertow again. This Vi is so low. Love Not Thought trying to do more damage. Zacian's taken down. Has to flash out. Flash apprehend misses from the Darius as it's a 1-for-1, but the Rift Walkers managed to steal 1 grub and there's 1 remaining. Just chaos in the river as Winter was taken so low and Zacian and Frozen Ace just didn't have the damage to take down the Olaf.
So that's kind of the opposite thing, though, when we talk about why you want to pick the Vi into this team, is because, like, as much DPS as the Olaf did in the previous fight at Dragon, Love No Thought is excellent at brushing these immobile carries, really making Magician's life, and actually just straight up killing Magician with a Vault Breaker there, being able to clean up these Void Grubs for her team, because, like, they don't really have, it's really hard to answer Vi with 2 immobile carries.
Yeah, you're right. We saw the cease and desist go into the backline. Magician didn't get to do a lot in that fight as he got jumped on by the Camille and the Vi. He kind of got taken out so early. He was already chunked out a little bit by Winter, and he was taken out of the fight without being able to hit the Arcane Storm or put down meaningful damage. But, I mean, is it Love Not Hot or Love No Thought? I'm not sure which one.
It is Love No Thought.
Love No Thought. All right, I'll keep that in mind. But
Yeah.
Love No Thought is actually on his first item already with the
Words to live
Stride
by.
Breaker
Words to
after
live
picking up
by.
all those kills. I mean, he's up
Yeah.
almost 15, nearly 15-ish farm on his opponent, and it seems like he's about to be able to take over this game as he's looking in the
2
bot
kills is
lane.
huge. Olaf actually one of the better characters at diving just because of the amount of damage he does. Looks like they're going to try and set up
Frozen
a
Ace managed to
4-man.
catch Magician as he's going for
They're
a
going to try
roam.
and bait out the season.
Grab the field, Love Not Thought's
the ward
reveal.
is good.
Yeah, Brad. Oh, he used the Stride Breaker in. Dave Tack, nice unbreakable to block some of the damage from Aphelios. It's just a look from Frozen Ace, but I think both junglers spent a bit of time there, so a bit of a chance for other laners to get ahead. So that was, yeah, we saw a look from both the jungler of Nautilus and the jungler of Riftwalkers and their mid laner as well. So it kind of, the mid lane farm differential is a bit evened out.
So 2 really important small plays that happened there was Love No Thought staying in the bush to try and bait out the cease and desist from Frozen Ace onto Victor, and in tandem, Dave
See
Tech
the
putting a
Fisher
ward in
come
that
out.
bush.
Crexon uses the Moonlight Vigil. He's stacking up the Chakrams, red-white guns. Switches back to the Calbrum. Doesn't manage to hit the sniper rifle, as it's just a trade of ultimates in the bot lane. LaChacha's taken low, but Crexon's stacked up the Chakrams, and I think they're just going to disengage and leave it at that.
For sure. You know, it's funny with the Felios. Whenever you take a fight, you really want red white guns. You want the Chakram, you want the lifesteal. But he ran out of the lifesteal gun halfway through, which means he went from dueling guns to poke guns, and
He yanked
it's
top.
not as fightable.
Right, interrupt. Oh, we see the hook shot barely dodges the apprehend. Calm Lafitte actually used the ghost for that as well, and he misses it. So it's going to be key summoner down for that combat. Sorry for interrupting again, Kazi. You got a little spicy, but yeah, tell us about the Aphelios weapon rotation.
So when you're playing Aphelios, you want to try and you want your support, and you want to be able to get engaged on when you have what are called dueling guns, which is to say your Caliburn or not your Caliburn, your Chakram and your we'll call it lifesteal gun. I think it's called Vampirum.
Yeah, it's the Severum. Yeah, Severum's the lifesteal, and Crescendum is the Chakrams.
Yeah, you want those 2 guns up because those 2 guns afford you the highest DPS and survivability. But in the middle of trying to fight, he accidentally got switched onto Caliburn. I think because he used his Chakram skill a little bit too early, and it burnt his Chakram gun. Burnt his Severum gun. And because of that, he couldn't really fight as well. And they just ended up disengaging the fight because of that. But it's going to be another dragon going over to Riftwalkers because they just have a lot of pressure. It's really, so as good as Braum Yunar is, it is hard to get in on Aphelios with almost any character when he has Caliber up.
Yeah. As the Braum, you're not usually trying to engage. Oh, Winter's Bite hits. LaChacha's taken low. Oh, the ultimate by Yunar is dealing so much damage. He jumped in with the Conway steps. Unstoppable goes in with the cease and desist as they lock down the Soraka. The Wish is not enough healing. Bread takes him down and gets the first kill for this bottom lane. A really nice gank from the lane from Frozen Ace as the cease and desist takes out LaChacha. We're not gonna see. Oh, maybe we are. Gonna see Love No Thought throw some undertows to disengage, but a nice look from the bottom lane and jungler from Team Nautilus to kind of claw back a bit of the gold lead and get this Yunara ahead.
And when we talk about the pressure that Braum can exert in the lane, that's kind of part of it. But it's just that denting blows is such a, or not denting blows, excuse me, concussive blows is such a scary passive, right? You land any stack of that onto either Raka or Aphelios, and they have to run away. Because if they get it propped, they're squishy enough to where either one of them is dead. And you saw it there where even though the concussive blows wore off, they were still able to find the kill onto the Raka just off landing the slow CC. Summoners up.
Yeah, not a lot of tank stats on the Soraka. If you're the one who's getting hit in the back line, you're going down before your AD carry, as you don't have the ability to heal yourself with that Astral Infusion. I mean, they did use the Wish, but it just wasn't enough as Bread was free firing, and it was a great look from Bread's Yunara to kind of start hitting Crexon before the gank started, and Crexon had to burn the flash in that exchange too, and only Frozen Ace, I believe, had to use the flash on his side. So there's 2 flashes down on the bot lane of Riftwalkers, making them more vulnerable to ganks as no summoner spells were burned on Team Nautilus. As we see some fighting in the top lane, Love No Thought is there. Zacian's dealing some good damage. A flash in, gets hit with the hook shot. Lacombe Huffit actually managed to get the nice fully stacked passive there, but it's not much after that as he did burn the flash. You gotta get that look, and Love No Thought's wasting a lot of time in the top lane. It looks like he's going for an invade on the jungle. hitting the blue
McCall
ball. There's an
Lafit has
aces right
been
next to him. Love no thoughts. Olaf has a level lead. I think the smite went to Frozen Ace. Yeah, he did pick up the blue buff, but Love no thoughts running him down. Frozen Ace is getting hit. The Ragnarok has popped. CC immune channeling the Volt Breaker. Can he get over the wall? He can't. He runs into the Olaf, who's CC immune, and now the Olaf is stuck in the jungle. Winter's 1v3 here. The Soraka moved all the way up here, and we see Winter managed to disengage. Bread saw the look. He goes in. We see the nice Calibrum snare from Crexen stop the engage from Bread, but it looks like Dave Tack and Bread are still looking. Cadme step forward. Crexen uses the ulti, gets hit as the transcends oneself doing so much damage. Bread is taking up the turret though, as they trade one for one under the turret. A nice fire back from Crexen, but that means that Bread gets the shutdown on his Yunara, so a big injection of gold there. A nice trade 1v2 from Crexen, but I think overall the gold difference is still in the favor of Nautilus as we see a 2v1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, and just to like address what this means for the rest of the game, that shutdown going to Yunara is basically going to even up, would normally even up the gold between her and Aphelios, but because of her CS lead, she's actually going to be basically up an entire kill, to the point where Aphelios has kind of had to build a little bit differently than I think he would like to. Really, he's going to be stacking double damage items early, rather than doing what we would call like the quote-unquote normal thing, which is to go like Yuntal into damage into secondary attack speed item. It looks like he's probably going to be building his Lord Dominic second, or even worse, potentially Yuntal second, which is not an ideal place for an AD carry, especially when you lose a lead like that.
Yeah, for those who don't understand what the Yuntal does or not fully know what the item is, you get stacks of critical hit chance based on how much you auto attack with that item, up to a cap of 25%. So yeah, Kazi, you're right on the dot there. You usually want to go the Yuntal for your first core item as Aphelios and get those stats of attack speed, crit chance, and attack damage. But now with just the IE, with just that base damage of attack damage, oh, we see a combo in the mid lane.
Big engage.
Oh. Okay, nothing much more, but yeah, the Aphelios wants to get the Yuntal, so we get all three of those stats, but now he just has the stat stick of the IE, which isn't that effective as the first item, as the critical hit amplification doesn't do much until you have a bit more crit chance. As we see Bread walking up, we see gank, a nice Volt Breaker, but it actually misses. A nice Critical Fissure hits too. Crexen's taking so much damage, and the heals are not enough from LaChacha. Soraka does her best, but it's not enough, as Crexen falls right in front of his turret, and we see the Rift Herald being activated on the top. The Darius seems to drift it into the turret. We see more fighting the bottom lane as Winter's approaching. Magician tries to stave off the offense as we see the jungler from Riftwalker's approach as well. It's a 4v4 in the bottom lane. But Riftwalker doesn't have their AD carry. It's gonna be, they're gonna go back in the pit. Winter, oh nice! It bought a flash body slam, but the explosive cast misses. They manage to get on top of the AD, the Magician, and they make that AD carry disappear because Bread is in there. Zacian TPs, gets the hookshot, misses, but he kills him with the precision protocol. As we see 5 people now in this bottom lane on the Dragon. Love Not Hot is still looking. Bread scares him off with a bit of the auto attacks as Zacian's walking up. Love Not Hot is still staying around as we see the Braum and the Queen of
blows land.
Blows is stacked up. He has the CC Moon with the Ragnarok. He's just going for Dave Tack. Blue team secures the Mountain Drake as we see Darius go, and he gets the dunk on Dave Tack. Gets a 4-man apprehend, another dunk, kills Winter. And it's a double kill for Riftwalker's top lane. The Darius managed to pick up 2 off that fight, but they still lose the dragon, and he dies for his attempt. A crazy fight in the river as it's running red for Team Nautilus and Riftwalkers. Love Not Hot survives, but he watches his team die in front of him.
I have no idea who won that fight, I'm going to be honest.
I
think Riftwalkers got the dragon, so I'm going to say no.
The gold lead is dead even after that fight.
I think it was like a 1.5-minute long fight, and 6 people died, 3 from each side. But I think a secured dragon. I think that's what matters.
I mean, yeah, it was insane. So yeah, there was a gank on the bottom lane that managed to kill Crexen. Nautilus managed to secure the drag after they forced out Love Not Hot, but Love Not Hot and the Darius managed to get 2 kills off the back end of it. I mean, it was crazy because, yeah, it seemed like everybody was walking into their deaths because they were so low after Magician walked in and he did some damage, and as a Magician does, he disappeared by going back to the fountain. And then, yeah, his team managed to clean up for him, but they did not secure the dragon, so the dragon stacking of Riftwalkers did get slowed down.
And again, we see teams kind of reset to a neutral state. It's worth noting the goal is extremely even. The objectives, relatively even. Obviously, Riftwalkers still up a dragon, but Nautilus being up the most recent dragon is relevant because it means they could potentially stack 4 Earth dragons, which is really, really, really strong.
Right.
But across the board, we see small advantages in some places. Camille's up about 20 CS on Darius. We've got about 2 kills difference between the Vi and the Olaf, which we kind of expect. Olaf is much more of a scrappy jungler. Definitely trying to fight a lot more, and when lanes are playing safe like they are, it's a little bit hard for Vi to get snowballing. Both the mid laners kind of behind the curve on gold in terms of distribution, but that is okay. They're both just trying to kind of scale into where they want to be. Gragas for the mid game, Victor for the late game. Gragas kind of hitting some power points once he finishes the second item. But the big
Frozen Ace in the jungle, explosive cast misses, flash in from Lacan Lafit, doesn't actually get anything, misses the apprehend as well. Zacian tries to hook shot in, the season assist onto Darius, he's taking so much damage, he used the decimate already, doesn't have the heal, the wish goes out, but it's not enough. The healing is not enough to keep him alive as Dave Tack takes a chunk. A nice look from Frozen Ace, Zacian, and Winter. They managed to put the ice on Riftwalkers as they managed to take out Darius as he used the healing right before he got jumped in on. A nice look, and I think that's going to transition over to the Otacon take, but it is warded, and the Otacon does shred, so we'll see if Riftwalkers can take this fight. Oh, Dave Tech.
Oh man, we've got good guns on Krex in the fight.
Oh, Dave Tech is still so low, managed to jump out with the stand behind me. Brom. Love not just running at them.
The entire team down.
Okay, yeah, we see that the Otacon aggro still hasn't been stopped either, so it looks like they just leashed it for Riftwalkers. Riftwalkers managed to lose a guy and take the Otacon, so a bit of a throw there from Team Nautilus as they start the Otacon and give it away for free.
Yeah, really not something you can afford to be doing there. There's no real reason to start the Otacon when you're any less than certain that you could actually do it, especially when Aphelios has like a reasonable amount of dueling potential, and you're looking just like a 4v5, while obviously advantaged, is just not something you can take depending on like what your cooldowns look like, what the enemy's cooldowns look like, and ultimately it's just a risk that doesn't really pay off for Riftwalk or for Nautilus there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like an unforced error. They got a free kill, and maybe they could have gotten more with the engage from the Braum or possibly the Hextech ultimatum. But or actually, I think he used that in the previous fight. But in the end, they just end up leeching the Otacon for the enemy team, and that's a huge influx of gold huge influx of experience and stats. As we see the fast bomb combo coming out, has to flash out, but the season assist is good. The wish comes out, but it's not enough again. Every wish just seems to be wishing for the death of someone else. LaChacha's doing their best with the heals, but it seems like Frozen Ace and Winter have blood all over their hands, and it's not fixing anything. So a really nice look with the Bomba combo from Winter. Actually burns the flash and the barrier from Krexen as well. So 2 summoners used for just Winter's 1, and now this Aphelios immobile 80 carry has nothing to get out of the next fight. Oh, see Scrap in here. Okay. Oh, we see a body slam under the turret. Darius managed to get the apprehend as Bread's free firing. Frozen Ace is around. Love No Thought is still in the jungle.
And both teams are just kind of positioning around this dragon. It is more important for Riftwalkers than it is for Nautilus, because being able to take the 3rd dragon means that you can usually trade it for Baron. But both teams are relatively well positioned here. This TP positioning is a little bit risky.
TP position, Love No Thoughts. Love No Thoughts is still in the Dragon Pit. 5-man stacked on top of the Mountain Dragon. It's a really tanky one. Vault Breaker in, uses the Ragnarok to become immune. Nice silence on top of everyone. LaChacha is doing so much. Magician's Arcane Storm managed to grow. Frozen Ace is taking slow. Odie gets the kill with the laser beam. Double kill over the Magician as Winter and Zacian have to jump over the wall to get out. And it seems like, again, Nautilus just managed to leash 4 Riftwalkers as Riftwalkers walk by and say thank you. They get 2 kills for free. They get the 3rd dragon, making it sole point, and they're going to take mid lane turret as well. They just got so much off that fight.
And that might be an even more indicative one, because even though it looks like it was a 5v5, Krexen was not there for the entire fight. Didn't land an auto, and they still lost that 5v5 while taking objective damage, but it's Dragon. The objective damage is relatively minimal. If they're not able to clean these up and find better positioning or better DPS, there's no way that they're going to be able to beat Riftwalkers once it comes to like really trying to end the game. Even this Yunar is too far ahead to not be able to DPS like she's supposed to. There's not much dive potential on her coming out of Riftwalkers, providing that her team is peeling for her. Overall, not to be that guy, but I actually just expect more out of Nautilus here.
That's fair enough. I mean, a bit of the stage jitters maybe for Team Nautilus in this first game. We saw a beautiful Equinox from LaChacha stop the engage, and then right on top of it, Magician dropped the Gravity Well, which meant that they were stunned and silenced in the same place. And really good positioning again from Love No Thought, posturing aggressively, and managed to block Frozen Ace's Vault Breaker in. So it meant that he could not get on top of any of the carries. And like you said, it was a 4v5. Right? It wasn't even the Riftwalkers didn't even have their 80 carry in that fight to help them, and Magician and Love No Thought just cleaned up the fight with so much damage. The Arcane Storm was hitting everyone, and Love No Thought took the Ragnarok and just raged all over Team Nautilus and got 2 kills off that.
Yeah, and of course, positive fight for Riftwalkers, but we're still looking at relatively even gold. Part of that is the fact that, well, actually, no, there's not much standing gold on the map. It looks like just Nautilus has been doing a decent job farming, really just keeping it up. And they're actually 500 gold ahead, even though you wouldn't necessarily know it from the way these team fights have been going. I think ultimately what this is coming down to is that their gold allocation hasn't been super effective, and they need to try and get more out of like this Camila, this Yunara. I'm not really sure how they're supposed to do that. That's up to them. But
Vault Breaker in, it's Magician. Magician flashes up with the season. This as follows. Winter trying to hit the combo. Nice body slam. The wish is enough to keep Magician alive. A nice explosive cast back in. They have enough damage. Frozen Ace gets the shutdown as he knuckles down Magician. It's just like Arcane over again as Vi beats the crap out of Victor. LaChacha, it seems like every time they use a reactive wish, it's just not enough. A nice look from Team Nautilus to pick up that kill. Can they turn it into more?
Yeah, excellent dive. Excellent pick onto the Victor. As not bursty as you would expect Gragas to be, still plenty of damage to be able to take out a squishy under turret in combination with such a high DPS or a high damage jungler like Vi, especially when they can lock him down with so many different types of CC between the two of them. Unfortunately, there's no real objective to take here off of that, but they are going to look to translate that into a push. Hopefully try and position a little bit more deep vision, especially in that upper right quadrant around Baron, contesting some of these jungle camps around Love No Thought and LaChacha.
Yeah, a really great look. It seems like Nautilus is really great at these small skirmishes, but it seems like they end up overestimating the fight when it comes to the 5v5. And Magician, you talked about the gold lead, but he's about to pick up the pointy hat with the Rabadons here, and it's going to be a lot of damage. If they manage to if Nautilus keep managing to find the looks that they've had earlier in this game onto this Victor, it'll be a great way to turn the team fight in their favor, especially now that the Yunara's on 3 items and this Aphelios still on 2.5. It's going to come down to the execution if Team Nautilus can actually lock down the key carry without losing too many members on their own.
Of course, and that's really what this Vi pick is about, right? Is locking down carries. You'd think they have the DPS to deal with the rest of the front line. Really, although the DPS battle with Yunara versus Aphelios is going to be probably Aphelios favors the later the game goes, even though it's not going to be by a ton. So you really need the Vi to take out a carry, and you really need your carry to be able to make up for whatever deficit Yunara might have to Aphelios, if that exists. Aphelios going an extremely high burst damage.
Gets Ragnarok early. Stridebreaker out. Glacial Fisher gets flashed away from his. LaChacha had to burn his flash as well. A nice use of the engage from Team Nautilus to engage and burn some of the key summoners on Riftwalkers. The Soraka has no flash, and Olaf no longer has Ragnarok, which is such a key ultimate ability to be missing in the team fight. There's a flash in from Frozen Ace.
Oh my God.
Wish goes out the gravity field, but it's not enough. LaChacha dies. The Darius goes in. He gets exhausted as Bread's free firing. Frozen Ace goes in the back line. It's 2v3 in the back as we see the top laners are just scrapping with the enemy team. As we get the Nazi field, he shuts down Bread. We see so much damage come out. The Crescendo ult goes out. Frozen Ace dies in front of the Aphelios as Ashian's getting run down by both the Aphelios and the Olaf. Lacombe Lafitte with a great team fight with that engage. Did so much damage. Maybe one-shot Bread from half health with the Noxian Guillotine. And now that means Rift Walkers get the dragon. The Rift Walkers are not just walking on top of the corpses. They're dancing on top of the corpses. They picked up the Mountain Dragon Soul.
Lacombe Lafitte played the entire team fight, 1 versus 3, and won it.
Yeah, that was a beautiful fight. He was stunting on them. I mean, he took the pressure of 3 members by himself, as Zacian and Frozen Ace tried to do the same on the back line of Riftwalkers, and those two were not able to do what that one man did on the Darius. So props to him for a beautiful team fight. I think he single-handedly won his team that fight.
I mean, he was fighting Yunara, the secondary carry in Gragas, and Braum at the same time, and killed 2 of them. That is a ridiculous effort coming out of Lacombe Lafitte here. And while they weren't able to translate it into objectives, it's not going to get better if you're playing against this Darius, especially as he finishes this Jock Show. Really interesting build coming out for the Darius here, and I'm not going to go so far as to say it's wrong. Frankly, I don't have enough Darius experience to say that. But I will say he is really hard to kill below half health, especially with the CDR coming off of the Spear of Sojin and the Steric Shield and bonus stats combined with Jock Show. He is deceptively tanky when he's at 1,000 or less HP.
Yeah, it's just so much tankiness from the Sterix and the Jack Show now that he's finished it. I mean, I think also props to Krexen for managing to survive that fight so long. He had the red-white guns to lifesteal off the dive from Frozen Ace and Zacian, and there just wasn't enough damage to kill him. So LeChacha's wish might not have saved his team, but his heals and the red gun heals from Krexen managed to keep them alive and win that team fight, as we see posturing in the mid jungle. We see the river getting cleared out, and it looks like Team Riftwalkers want to take over topside river and go for the Baron, possibly.
And right now, Krexen is not building to DPS these fights. He will DPS these fights after he finishes his next item, but right now Krexen is relying on the amount of burst damage that Aphelios' kit can pack, which is highly deceptive and actually a lot between like the 2 skills he could throw out in succession. Just because by building like triple heavy AD item, right? He recognizes that it's going to be really hard for him to survive a dive, so he's trying to do as much damage as quickly as possible, rather than trying to stay alive for as long as possible to maximize his damage.
Yeah, I mean, who needs to be the DPSer when you have this Olaf and Darius doing consistent damage? And I mean, this Victor's no slouch either, so I think his build just worked out for this game. He's bringing the Burst Mage, while Magician is bringing the DPS, and his top lane backs it up. As we see a lot of posturing near this Baron buff, it seems like both teams are getting antsy. Dave Tech's looking for the Winter's Bite in the bush, but I think Riftwalker's just doing a better job keeping vision. As we see, I mean, Nautilus lost so many objectives in a row. They're down the Mountain Soul. They're down the Otacon. I think this next Baron fight's going to have to where they kind of unleash themselves, or it's going to be game over. I mean, Bread had the gold lead for the majority of this game, but now it looks like the items are on parity. And I think every fight, he just hasn't had the chance to free hit when he needed to. He's getting run down by this Darius, run down by this Olaf. He's not able to get in range, as the Aphelios and the Victor tend to outrange the Yunara. Oh, we see again. Love Not Hot gets the undertow. We see the Hextech ultimatum go out. Voltbreaker getting charged up. Darius is not taking any damage from these two, as Bread managed to come in. The Ragnarok is popped as he's CC immune. Channeling back out as a TP comes out from Magician. They're going to trade TPs for that fight as Winter comes in as well. Bread uses his ultimate to disengage. We see 2 TPs being wasted from both teams, but not much done after that other than some ultimates burned. And it just looks like Riftwalkers are going to use this as a chance to transition to the Baron.
And just speaking to the Yunara's build a little bit more, she did hit 2 critical breakpoints in the past couple minutes since the fight. She's finished her Runads, and she also has Grievous Runes, which is going to be really, which should be a huge difference maker against the Darius. One of the reasons why he's been so effective in the past 2 team fights is that He's healed up his entire health.
He has to flash out of the apprehend. Love Not Hot is running him down. As we see Zacian hookshot in, Red's managed to free hit, but the heals are so much. Zacian just dies. Doxy and Guillotine shuts him down. We see the Arcane Storm so big as the calm Lafitte is not calm at all. He's raging on top of Team Nautilus as he gets 2 more kills. He flashes the thumbs up in disrespect, and he is taking over this fight. 6-2-0 means that his team is getting the Baron buff for free.
You know, maybe Grievous Wounds means nothing. Like the more
against double mountain into the shield, into the Jack Show, it looks like it's doing absolutely nothing. This Yunara pebbles at him.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. He just does like 1,000 damage every time he presses R. So like, you know, maybe Grievous Wounds didn't make a difference at all whatsoever.
Yeah, it seems
however, Yunara has now finished her armor pen item, not the full item, but gotten 25%, which is more than 0, which, again, the more we scale, the less and less the Darius should matter hypothetically, but so far, he's looked dominant in these team fights. Everybody's just squishy enough for him to be able to really chunk them out with his ultimate and his passive procs.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the scaling advantages for Team Riftwalkers. You know, their bot side outscales, but their top side doesn't. But right now, it seems like this Darius is scaling. He's not even on his 4th item, and he does so much damage. And it seemed like what was a quiet laning phase from him turned into absolute domination in the mid-late game, as he's just taking every fight so well, and he's taking over. As we see the Elder Dragon spawns, if you do not fight over this buff, it's guaranteed game over with that 20% health execute. We see the vision being cleared. We see it getting lower. Crexen doesn't have the best guns for a fight. Hookshot out. Manages to just keep him safe.
Crexen has the best guns for an ulti though.
Oh, we see Zacian
can land a critical one. He can win the fight by himself with those 3
he gets stunned, but there's so much healing. The Soraka's keeping him topped up. Zacian's already half HP as the Elder Dragon's taken so low, under 2k. Oh, the steal is unsuccessful as Frozen Ace can't get in. He uses the Vault Breaker, and now he has no way out. He managed to jump over the back wall. I guess he has enough CDR to escape, but it means that the Elder Dragon gets over to Riftwalkers, and they're going to use this to dominate the last fight of this game, ideally. So we're going to see if this is enough for the final push.
They will engage anybody they touch with any CC here. They might even split this Darius off to dive somebody bot solo. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to shove out this mid lane. They can't really... Every little bit of poke they land is so much damage because of the dragon buff.
We see the stun onto the Vi. The Vi's rooted in place and he dies. He gets executed by Magician's Dragon Laser Beam. The Arcane Storm is going towards the enemy team, but it's not needed as they have so much damage without it. Magician is low on mana, but it seems like it's not gonna matter. They have the Baron Wave. They have the Elder Dragon. They're pushing on the Nexus turrets as Daytack's taken low. So much damage. Will he get executed by the Elder? Oh, we see he's just barely above the health threshold. Oh my god, the Blackfire Torch means he has enough damage over time as Victor picks up another one with the Elder Dragon execute. They're knocking on the front doors. Is this the last stand of Team Nautilus?
The Siege Minion took down 3/4 of this turret.
Oh, yeah, we see the turrets falling down. It's gonna not be a fight, but a whimper as Team Riftwalkers just runs into the base, takes the Nexus with no contestation, and in the last game of Prime Meta League Week 1, we have Riftwalkers walking on top of Nautilus's corpse. A great game to both teams, but Riftwalkers just does it more in the team fights.
Excellent job coming out from Riftwalkers. Just kind of like really finding a spot to, like an exploitable spot